Joining us today, Chris Daniels of Chris Daniels and the Kings, singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, and educator, a member of the Colorado Music Hall of Fame. Good morning, Chris. Thank you for being with us today on KUVO's Community Connection.
I love KUVO. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming down. Now, I noticed that you were born in St. Paul, Minnesota.
Oh, geez, yeah, for sure. Don't you know?
What brought you to Colorado, or who brought you to Colorado?
Well, the first time I came out here was to go to a boarding school in 11th grade, which I dropped out of to join the circus. I left boarding school to join a band called Magic Music back in the 1970s. So.
And that was a circus?
Yeah, well, it was. It was, hippies, school buses, dogs. It was the circus, yeah.
Well, it sounds like it was entertaining, nonetheless. Okay, so celebrating, you're going on, well, you've already celebrated 40 years, but as you continue your musical journey, 40 years, that's a long time to be with the same band.
Yeah, it is.
How does it feel?
Great. Unbelievable. It changes over years. We've had a couple players, go on to the band in the sky.
Right.
But we have new blood and new energy in there of just some of the most amazing players. 15 years ago, I was diagnosed with leukemia, and I was lucky enough, knock on wood, to still be here, and I got a bone marrow transplant from my sister. And which means all my bone marrow is fat girl, which is fabulous. Just telling you. The shoe shopping, who knew?
Right.
But that year, I ran into Freddie Gowdy from the Freddie Henchy Band.
Right.
And we've teamed up since then, so it's Chris Daniels and the Kings with Freddie Gowdy. And now we've got Bob Rebholz, who's just one of the best sax players ever, and Steve Ivey, who played with the E-Town Band for years, and it's just the best band ever. I'm thrilled. I've never been so happy.
Well, that's awesome. So how long has Freddie from Freddie Henchy been with you?
Now 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I met him first in the 1970s when I was playing with that hippie band, Magic Music. We used to play his club. And we'd go up there, and all the Atlantean dancers would look like they were, going down with Atlantis. And those same dancers, Freddie and Henchy, would come out, and they'd all get the soul shakes. It was just great.
Oh, my.
So we've known each other for years and years and years. And he said, rocking chairs got me. And I said, no,
not yet.
Come on out. And he's having so much fun. And he's such a great entertainer. He's just wonderful.
Well, they say if you're having fun at what you're doing, it's not considered work.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's so true.
Yeah.
True. So I noticed that a majority of the bands that get started on their musical journey often play cover tunes.
Yeah.
When did you decide, or how long did you play covers before you decided to go with original music?
Well, the first night we played was March 14th, 1984, and it was all covers. We hadn't written any tunes.
Okay.
And we thought we'd do it as a one-night stand. Be careful of one-night stands. They last a long time. So we did that show at the Blue Note, and everybody just fell in love with it. So we started writing tunes for the band.
Okay.
But it took us about a year. Our first record came out in 85. Mm-hmm. And then 1987 was the first year we really actually had a hit because of, this format that, the NPR, community radio format all of a sudden took a liking to us.
Wow.
There's a song called When You're Cool, the Sun Shines All the Time.
No, that's right.
Yeah, so that was our first. And then shortly after that, we got a record deal in Europe.
See?
And we spent the next 10 years doing records and recording for European labels. A French label, a Dutch label, all of that. And then about 2000, the guys all said, well, we're doing so much traveling and we're now raising our kids, and any chance we could stay around the house a little bit? And I said, well, we'd have to play cover tunes, and we haven't done that because it's been all original.
Right.
And they said, that's okay. So we started learning cover tunes.
Wow. That's amazing. Great story.
Yeah.
So you've played with some incredibly talented musicians over the years.
Yeah, I've been lucky.
Do you have maybe a top 5 of your most memorable?
Oh, boy. Well,
that's a deep subject.
That's a tough one. Yeah. Well, Billy Payne, who's been a dear friend for years from Little Feat, he sort of co-produced one of our records. Sam Bush, who I've known from when I played with Magic Music in 1975. I've known Sam. Pardon me. He comes and plays fiddle and mandolin with us.
Wow.
I got to clear my throat here. Hopefully you can edit that lovely bit out.
Yes.
So Sam comes and plays with us. Garth Brooks was he came and we backed him for a show. We backed so many people. Bo Diddley, Percy Sledge, the Four Tops.
Wow.
I mean, I've gotten to play with all of my heroes.
Well, that's great.
Yeah. So,
You've been around.
Yeah. It's been a while. But I'm still here.
I see that, and that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. So you're a busy man, as we can tell.
Yes.
How many gigs do you play a year?
It really depends upon the year. You know, some people will say, we had you last year, Chris. And so we play less that year. And then sometimes you think, okay, this is going to be a down year because we played so many last year.
Sure.
Anyway, it averages between 50 and 100 gigs a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're a busy man.
Yeah.
And that's great for a musician to be that busy.
Oh, it's a blessing.
Yes.
I'm doing what I love, and I'm working with just these wonderful people. Johnny Thornburg on bass has been playing with Lionel Young and all, Captain the Red Hot Flames, all of these different. And now to have Johnny with us is, it's just a dream.
Well, it takes a special person to be a teacher/educator.
Yeah.
What is it that you love about teaching?
Well, I started doing that in 2002 at Arapahoe Community College. And then CU said, we're looking for a full-time professor.
Nice.
So I said, okay. And they wanted me to teach music business. And I thought, well, I know some of it, from all the years. I mean, I've signed 5 record deals over the years.
Okay.
But I really have to go every year back to school before I start the semester because it's changing so fast. I mean, we were just out there, you and I, looking at CDs and going, I think we have one in the house somewhere. Most people, if they're lucky, have one in their car. And nowadays, cars don't even have them anymore.
Exactly.
So, and there are the wonderful audiophiles who love that LP, and we put those out too. But it's just changing massively. So every year, I go out and I, okay, what is this TikTok thing? The funniest one this year was my graduating class. I gave them their final exam, and I noticed they got question 17 wrong all the exact same way. And I thought, oh boy, these kids are sitting in a chat room and cheating. Oh boy. And then all of a sudden, light bulb. And I sort of went, oh my God, they're all using ChatGPT. And so they fed the question into chat, and it came back with the wrong answer that they all used.
Wow.
So, in that situation, you sit down with them and you say, it says in the syllabus you can't do this.
Right.
And this is really important. I said, but this is such a new technology. I am not going to bust you down to a 0 or flunk you in the class. You need to take the exam over and don't use it. And now there's tools that are catching it. But it's wild. Just like I said, every year before I start the class, I spend.
So you have to go to school.
I have to go to school to teach school. Yeah.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that because you're never too old to learn.
That's right.
Once you stop learning, you're dead.
Yep.
So that's great. Yeah. That's great. So give us, let our listeners know where we can find you on your website or social sites.
Well, the Kings are playing a bunch. My favorite one in the next week is next Sunday. We will be at, which is, just a couple days from now.
Right.
Is City Park Jazz.
Yes, that's one of your favorites?
One of my absolute favorites.
Nice.
8,000 of our favorite friends.
Okay. And what a great weekend to end the 4th of July on is coming over to City Park Jazz and jamming with you and the Kings.
And it's, it's just such a great community event.
Yes.
So we pull out all the stops. We get all the horn players, we have our 3-piece horn section, and it's really fun. So that's coming up. But you can find us at chrisdaniels.com. I'm old enough that I actually got that name. Now, there's about 1 billion Chris Danielses out there.
Okay.
But I got ChrisDaniels.com.
Okay. All right.
So that's how you find us. That's where our shows are. You can get merch and T-shirts and all that stuff.
All that good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So the show starts at 6 p.m.
Right.
on Sunday.
That's right.
Get there early.
Right. Bring your baby blanket and bucket of beer.
Okay. Whatever it takes for you to enjoy the show.
Yeah.
How many pieces are you going to have on Sunday?
We'll have 8 pieces. So
Nice.
it's 8 full 3-piece horn section, and incredible lead guitar player Bones Jones, who I've been working with for 50 years, and he was out with, Albert King for years. He was Albert's guitar player, and yeah, I'm blessed. Daryl Duty Abramson talked about. There's another music teacher. He plays trumpet, but he also is the assistant professor for the Longmont High School marching band.
Oh, my.
And he's the trumpet player for the Denver Broncos drum line.
See?
So everybody's all doing this different stuff.
Small world.
Yeah, and then tonight, it's Friday night. We'll be doing something somewhere. I just don't have my list.
Well, that's okay. You've given us plenty.
I'll have to go check my website.
Okay, Chris.
Right
Well,
away.
you know what? I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule, Chris, to stop by and spend some time with us here at the KUVO Community Connection.
Well, let me do a shameless plug for KUVO. KUVO has been so supportive of local musicians, of great jazz, of salsa, of blues, in a way that this doesn't exist in other communities. And we are blessed in this community to have KUVO. So shameless promotion. We love you guys. Thank you for what you are doing.
Thank you so much. You know, we are a Colorado where everyone feels seen and heard.
Yes.
And we're going to get back into the music with who else? Chris Daniels and the Kings right here on KUVO Jazz.